So how important is the actual biology of a human, the reproduction, the matter, the physical stuff, the cells, in saying that something is our offspring?
Well, I would say it comes back to the question of what is life? What does it even mean to be alive? And this is something where there's so many fundamental questions in science, and this is true of biology, that we struggle to answer. You would think that what is life would be like the most basic question in biology. And in some ways it is. And it's also one of the hardest to answer. So questions like, is a virus alive? Right? You could start a fist fight among biologists if you drop into a biology conference and ask them to choose sides on that one. And it's because, on the one hand, a virus can't live on its own. It is not capable of living without a host. It requires a host. And so that, by some definitions, means that, well, it's not alive, right? It can't exist on its own. But by other definitions, like, well, what is it doing? It can reproduce with the help of a host, but it is making copies of itself. It is having an impact on the environment around it. And so by that definition, and it can evolve. That's another definition that biologists like to use for defining life, is being capable of evolution. We know they can evolve. We're all very well aware of that after COVID. So on that side of things, it does seem like a virus is alive. So does a living thing need to be capable of existing on its own, or can it be dependent on some other form of life in order to be alive? Depends on how you want to define it.
So another way to answer that question that I've heard, I read a lot of Siddhartha Mukherjee, and he would say, does it have cells? And if it has cells, that might be a good litmus test.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the definitions that biologists like. But I think you could turn that around and say, like, well, is that just a circular definition? All life that we know of has cells, and so then we say life has to have cells in order to be alive. By that definition, you're right. A virus is not a cellular-based life form. And this has implications for space, because if we go to another world and we want to discover, is there life there, are we assuming that life everywhere has to follow the same principles as life on Earth? Does it have to be cellular? If it did all the other things, if we found something that was capable of reproducing and capable of using energy and impacting the world around it and evolving, but it didn't have cells, we would say that that's not alive? I don't know. I don't know that that's what we would do. I think people would argue that. So, yeah, it's fascinating. It sounds philosophical, and it is in a sense, but it's also fundamental.